We did the first class last week. The one thing that I want to emphasize here is that this is not the grammar class. This is not the Arabic grammar class only. Here we try to understand the Quran in Arabic language. So without reading the translations in our own languages, we should be able to understand Quran directly as it is being read or is being recited. In that connection, we use the Fusha language, which is the original Arabic Quranic language, as well as the construction of the words, which automatically brings the grammar part in it. But the main focus is, along with the vocabulary, is to be able to understand the Quran directly. Okay? So when we focus on the words, we create how the words are formed together, how they are placed together, how they affect each other. So in that connection, you should be able to understand the Quran exactly as it was revealed. Okay? So what we did few words last time, and we'll continue on. So these are some basic things which you already know, most of you. But once we finalize understanding, then it will give you a different concept about the Quran itself. So to recap briefly from what we did last time, I'm just going to take a couple minutes. So 99% of the Arabic words start with 3 letters. Okay? And one example that we can take is if I take these 3 letters, Kaf, Ta and Ba, these are 3 independent letters in Arabic language. And by adding certain sounds and certain more letters, we can create the word which you all know is Kitabun. Okay. Kitabun means simply a book. The important thing to know is that this is a noun, this is a name of something which you call a book. All the Arabic names, all the Arabic nouns always will have these 2 things at the end. In Arabic we call them Dhamma, and in Urdu other language called Pesh. 2 of them. And the sound of these 2 is Bun, sound of Noon. So the actual Arabic word, Fusha, is Kitabun. It's not the Kitab. We stop and say Kitab, but the actual full word is Kitabun. Also the important thing to notice is that the meaning is a book. Any book is Kitabun. Now the second thing we learn is that when we put these 2 letters in front of a noun, pronounced as al, and combine these 2, the meaning of the word al is the. Okay? So when we put the, we need to take out a, and from here we remove one dhamma. So it becomes now al-kitabu, and the meaning is the book. Now this is not just any book. This book has to be something special. So in English, just like a common noun and a proper noun, or a definite noun, indefinite noun. So but remember that in Quran, either you will see the word kitabun, or you will see the word al-kitabu. You will not see al-kitabun. That's wrong. Okay? So that's very important, because we are going to look here on these words and identify with the help of this thing. So either it is Kitabun or Al-Kitabu. Okay? Now again, in Arabic there are some words like fi. Fi means in. Bi means with. And for example, last time we also learned li means for. These are called preposition in English. In Arabic, they are called harf jar. Okay? So if I add any of these before these words, so let's just put fi. Okay. So in English, it will become, so this I is not there anymore. Okay. So this word now becomes, and we're going to simplify this and just take out this and just leave one dhamma here. Okay. So separately now, in English, the word is in the book. In Arabic, it is fi al-kitabu. Okay. Something happens. In English, nothing happens, just you added these words there. In Arabic, whenever you will see this word, harf-e-jar, fi, for example, this has some effect on the words after that. It changes the sound. And the sound, the way it is changed, it removes this dhamma and puts a kasra there. So now it will become fi al-kitabi. That is the correct word. And when you pronounce, you don't pronounce this alif, you pronounce fil kitabi, in the book. Very basic rules, because these are going to repeat and we are going to look in here. Okay? So for example, last time we learned that the word is Allahu. Allahu is the correct word. Okay? If we put lam before that, lam means for, so this becomes for Allah. Okay? But lam does one thing, as I said, that all these letters here will look at the last letter and change this dhamma into a kasra. So it becomes li Allahu, not Allahu anymore. When you pronounce lillahi. And we pointed out last time, alhamdu lillahi. The original word was Allahu. Lam, this word here, it's one letter actually, made it sound instead of Allahu to Allahi. Okay? This will happen all over. In every word or second word, you will see this transformation. Okay? So original word Allahu, when li came before that, it becomes li Allahi. In the pronunciation, we don't pronounce alif, lillahi. So alhamdulillahi, lillahi means for Allah. Okay? Similarly, here is the word. It was bi and Allahu. Okay? B means with. B has the same effect and it changed Allahu to Allahi. And when you pronounce B and Allahi, but combined it will be Billahi. So that's how Arabic grammar, Quranic words are being combined, generated and pronounced together. Okay? So just remember these two basic rules that we did last time, because they're going to build up more on those. Okay? So original noun will have two pesh or two dhammas with the sound of noon. Number one, whenever you put al before that, one of the two dhammas goes away and its sound changes. Whenever a harf-e-jar or letter like this comes before, it changes dhamma sound to a kasra sound. Allahu becomes Allahi. Okay? So those were just from last week. Okay? Now we're going to go into a little bit more details of these words. And we also, so basically, the meaning of this is for Allah. Lillahi means for Allah. Billahi means with Allah. Okay? before I proceed, one more word, just want to briefly recall. This word starts with ha, mim and dal. This means to praise. Okay? If I combine these and pronounce as hum, dun, remember this is a noun, always the word will have two dhamma sound at the end, sound of noon. So this is actual word is hamdun. When we stop, we say hamd, but word is hamdun. Hamdun means praise. Okay. Now we also learn, or you can say praise. Okay. We put an al just like we learned a few minutes ago. Al means the. Okay? And when you put the, in English you cannot have a here, so it becomes the praise. Al changes two dhammas to one, we just learned also, so it becomes alhamdu. The praise, all the praise, no more praise is left. Okay? The praise. The praise, and in English we put is, but in Arabic there is no is. So alhamdulillahi, the praise or all the praise is for Allah. Okay? So that's the meaning of alhamdulillahi. Okay? Now let's learn a little bit more, expand this out. Okay? And we'll just go on this word. Okay? Now, as I said that 99% of the Arabic words start with 3 letters. Okay? So we are going to learn this first word now. Okay? So we'll learn with the example. Okay? So the example we will use is these 3 letters which we'll keep using all the time. In Arabic, fa, ayn and lam. Fa, ayn and lam. In English, this is equivalent to these 4 letters. T-O, D-O, to do. Fa'ala means, in English, in Arabic, to do. Now, if I want to make English sentence, I do. So what I did, I removed 2 here, and I just put an I there, and left this one. Now this is a small sentence in English. The information in this is that I means I am talking about myself, and do I am talking about present tense. I do. How we do the same thing in English, in Arabic? In Arabic, to make a comparable sentence, we just put an alif in the beginning with a hamza. Okay? And then I combine these 3 letters, fa and lam. Okay? Now I have these 4 letters, but I need some help to pronounce these 4 letters. So I'm going to add some harakas. I put a fatah on that, a sukoon, a fatah and a dhamma. So this became af-alu. The pronunciation will be af-alu. So in English you put an I, in Arabic you put an alif there in the beginning. And you pronounce this way, af-alu. Af-alu means I do. So this is the rule, the standard rule. Whenever you are talking about myself, first person, I, you put an alif in the beginning. And then you pronounce this way, af-alu. Okay? So we will learn one word at a time and apply it to the Quran. So using this rule, we are going to understand the first word here. Okay? But before we do that, one more thing we want to learn is that in Arabic, these 3 letters, alif, waw, and ya and waw, the sound of this letter is the sound of fatha or sound of zabar, ah. The sound of this is ya or e, and the sound of this is U or Dhamma. Okay? In English it is like a A, E and O. Okay? In English these are called vowels. These three letters in Arabic are part of all the alphabetical letters, but they have a special name also. In English, they are called weak letters. Or huruf-e-illat. Illat means alil. Alil means to get sick. Okay? So they have a special name. Why are they called huruf-e-illat? If alif always has a sound of A. If by mistake I put this kasra on alif, for example, or if I take a ya and put this dhamma on ya, it's not going to like it. It doesn't like, these letters don't like any other sign except their own sign. So alif wants to have a fatha on it, ya wants to have a kasra under it, and a waw wants to have a dhamma to match this sound. If in the formation of the words this sound matching doesn't apply, then these three letters become sick, they become ill, because they are weak letters. And they try to fix the sound. Okay? And in fixing the sound, it becomes very easy to speak or pronounce. Okay? So just keep this little rule in mind. So let's apply that rule. Fa'ala, to do. Af'alu, I do. So I'm going to start with these three letters. Ain, Waw and Zal. All the words start with three letters. Ain, Waw and Zal, when they are put in this order, Ain, Waw and Zal, the meaning is to seek protection. In Arabic, the equivalent word is Ain, Waw and Zal. In English it means to seek protection, or to seek refuge, or to seek help against someone. Okay, that means seeking the protection, or asking for protection. Okay? In Arabic, these are the three letters. Now, if I want to talk about myself in present tense, then this will be I seek protection. If I'm talking about first person myself and present tense. In English it will be I'm seeking the protection or I seek the protection. Okay? By this rule, I can make the Arabic also. Because I, first person, and present tense requires to put an alif there. Okay? So I can put an alif there, like this, with the hamza. And now these three letters, I just combine these three letters. So I take these three letters and combine them. Okay. So now, only thing I did, I put an alif in the beginning. And that brings the meaning of first person me and present tense. Okay. Now, we have to pronounce these. So for pronunciation, we will use the same harakat there. So that's the rule. So on the first one, you will have to put a fatha. On the second letter, there is a sukoon. So I put a sukoon. On the third letter, there is a fatha. I put a fatha. On the fourth letter, there is a dhamma. Okay. So this is the word. This is the Arabic word which means I seek protection. Now try to pronounce this with this combination. Alif is combining with the letter Ain. Waw has a fatha and Zal has a fatha. So pronunciation will be A. Alif and Ain with the sukoon will pronounce A. Wadu. That's what the pronunciation is, because we learn to read the Quran by combining with the harakats. So a'awadu is the word, the exact Arabic word, which means I seek protection. Okay? But when we read a'udhu billahi, we are saying something different. Actual word is a'awadu. We are saying a'udhu. We change the sound. Okay? Why? Because notice something I just mentioned. This waw here has a fatha on it. Waw supposed to have a dhamma. So it's a mismatch. There is a mismatch. And because of this mismatch, it sounds strange. It sounds a'awadu. Okay? And also notice that when I'm saying how it is difficult for my tongue or my mouth to say the word a'awadu. It doesn't sound rhythm, doesn't sound good, and it's difficult to say. Okay? So in Arabic, what we do a little fixing on the word. Okay? So we need to fix this waw here actually, because that is a weak letter. Okay? So the way we fix, and first I'm going to explain to you what we do. These are two letters, ain with the sukoon. So this is ain with the sukoon. Sukoon here, or jazm. And then we have a waw that has a fatha on that. Okay? So what we do, we take this sukoon here and we bring on waw here. Okay? And the sound of the waw is the sound of dhamma here. The sound this, okay? So we bring its waw's dhamma sound here. Okay? So now the word sound becomes oo. It's very to pronounce oo. So if I take this minor change because of the rule, then the pronunciation becomes a'udhu. It's easy to pronounce. Instead of pronouncing a'awadu, I'm saying a'udhu. It's easy to pronounce, it sounds better. So that's what Arabs did. Before Quran was revealed, Quran did not bring any of these changes. Long time when the Arabic language was building up, when they wanted to pronounce by the rules, it sounded strange. So to make it easy on the tongue, they modified the sounds of the words. To make it easy, to sound is better, to make it a good speech. So a'awazu is pronounced as a'udhu, okay, with a minor change in the sound. And the change was by the rule, not randomly, I want to say it that way. Okay? Why? Because these three letters were mismatched. We try to fix them and the sound becomes a'udhu. Okay? So now the meaning becomes a'udhu billahi, I seek protection. I seek protection with Allah. Okay? We say this all the time. Okay? But if you think it this way, you will have a different understanding of the word. These two words. A'udhu billahi, I seek protection with Allah. So that is what the meaning of those two words. Here, instead of billahi, it is lillahi. And alhamdu is the noun. So alhamdulillahi, all the praise is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in this case it is lillahi, in this case it's billahi. Both have the same rule here, that harf-e-jar change Allahu to Allahi. In this case it's a grammar of first person. In this case it is the noun. Okay? So that's now learned. Now let's learn few more words after that. Okay? So we'll just continue until we are done. Also, last time we learned Bismillahi. Okay? Here the somewhat different rules apply. Okay, but let's learn these few words today. Okay. Once we know these basic rules, they repeat in the Quran so much that it will be very easy for you to understand the Arabic just by reading that. Okay. Now, again, see the similarity of this word. One more word I'm adding here. Min means from. Okay. So we are building a table of in, with, for, out, above. These are called preposition in English. One more word. Min means from. Okay. So let's keep that table on the side. Okay. Now the next word starts with these three letters. Sha and Sheen, Ta and Noon. Okay. One more word that starts with three letters. Shatana, Sheen, Ta and Noon. The meaning of these three letters is to rebel. To rebel. Okay. Shatana is to rebel against someone. To disobey to the extreme. Okay. Shatana. Now, the noun from this is shaytanun. If I put an alif here and a ya here, this will become shay. If I put a ya after she, it will be shay. If I put an alif here, it will become tha. Shay, tha, and a noon. Always remember that all the nouns have the sound of two dhammas or sound of noon. So the actual Arabic word is shaytanun. When we stop, we say shaitan. But the word is shaytanun. Okay? Shaitanun means a person who is rebelling. A person who rebels. Okay? Or someone who rebels. Someone who rebels is a shaitan. Rebellious person is a person who disobeys and rebels. Any person, it can be any normal human being who is rebelling against something, it's shaitan. Now, if I put al before that, al brings the meaning of ta. Okay. Whenever al comes, we remove one dhamma, and now it will be al shaitanu. When you read them together, lam and sheen, when they come in this combination, you do not pronounce lam, but you pronounce sheen 2 times. And there's a rule for that, we'll come to that. So the word becomes ash-shaytanu. Ash-shaytanu is not any person now or any being now. It is someone who is very definite person. Al brings the meaning of definite. So ash-shaytanu is a being which is the most rebellious. And that is the name that goes to the Iblis. Okay. Ash-shaytanu is the one who disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he was asked to make sajda to Adam alayhi salam. His name is ash-shaytanu. Shaytanun can be anyone. Any jinn or any human being can be rebellious. But the one who did the actual rebelling, ash-shaytan, he is the one. Okay? So, al is important. Because now you are singling out one being, ash-shaytan. So that is the ash-shaytan. Okay? So, with this change, 2 dhammas became, I'm going to rewrite here, 1 dhamma here, or 1 page. Okay. Ash-shaytan. Okay? And in writing, we will write it this way. Ash Shaitan. Put a shadda and don't put anything on lam. So it becomes not al anymore. Ash Shaitanu. This is the correct word. Ash Shaitanu means the one who rebelled against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Now, let's put one more word before that. Min. Okay? Min means from. Okay? This is from here. Min. Min is a harf jar or a preposition. We also learned from so many words that whenever any of these words come before the noun, it looks at the last letter and says, I don't like that last letter, sound on it. It says, I want to change the sound into a kasra sound. Okay? Just like B and Allahu becomes Billahi. Who became he? Dhamma on the last letter became kasra on the last letter. Similarly, it is min, as soon as min came, Shaitanu became Shaitani. If min was not there, then the correct word is Ash-Shaitanu. Min, so in Arabic, words have effect on each other. And why do they have effect on each other? The grammar is created later. The written language is created later. The first thing that builds up in a society is the spoken language. Okay? And then later on people write the rules of the grammars from the speech. So any language, like Arabic also, in the beginning, when they try to sound, if I speak this way, min, al, shaitanun, these are the separate words. First one word is min, the other word is al, the third word is shaitanun. I'm taking break in 3 words in speech, min, al, shaitanun. Okay? In order to speak more smoothly, okay, some of these sounds in between I'll take out. You'll understand. If I say minash shaitani, you'll understand it because you have been listening or speaking this one. Okay? But why did I do that? To make the speech easy. Instead of speaking 3 words separately, min, al, shaitanun, you got the meaning. But I'm trying to truncate the 3 words in one fast word, minash shaitan. Okay? So to make easy on the tongue is the tajweed, is the spoken language. Okay? So now, also we says min al. Okay? I'm going to combine the speech of these 2. I'm going to just leave this me and change this harakat here into a fatha. So now I'm going to, and then I'm not going to pronounce alif unnecessarily. So it will be minash. See how many letters I dropped in between? But you got the meaning what I'm saying. So I don't need to say those extra sounds. Okay. The original sound is min, al, shaitanun. If I'm speaking fast, I'm saying minash shaitani. You are used to of hearing this word, so you got what I'm saying. Okay? So that's what the Arabic spoken language developed that way. Okay? So, minash shaitani, from the shaitan, from the iblis. So what you're saying, I seek protection with Allah from ash-shaitanu, the iblis, the most rebelling one. Okay? I seek protection with Allah from ash-shaitan, from the iblis. Okay? So that is from the iblis is the name of that individual who did the act of rebellion. So shaitan is the title. His title is shaitan because he rebelled. but his name is Iblis. Okay? He is the one individual who disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with arrogance. Okay? So, from the shaitan. Now, there is one more word after that. Okay, let's look at that word. So, root letters are again three. Ra, Jeen and Meen. Okay? This has multiple meanings. But one of the meaning is to curse. Rajama. Another meaning is to throw the stones. Okay? When you go for Hajj, you throw stones on the shaitan. That's also the same word. But here, we'll just keep with one meaning, to curse. Okay? Now, in certain words, if I put a ya in the middle here of these three letters, okay? If I put a ya in there, this word will become Ra, Ji. I put a ya here, and if I sound like that, Raji, Mun. This is a noun. This is a person who has been cursed. Someone who gets a curse is Raji Mun. Correct word is, as I said, all the nouns will end with two dhammas. So the word is Raji Mun. Raji Mun means the one who was cursed. The one who has received the lana. Okay? Cursing means someone who received the lana. Okay? So Rajimun is the correct word. Okay? Now do the same thing we have been doing. Put al before that. Al, it brings some special person. One more time, the. Okay, or here you can say one who was cursed. And now it becomes the one who was cursed. Okay? By putting an al, it became some special person. Some definite person. Okay? And whenever you put al, you have to remove one dhamma from here. So this will become al-rajimu. Al-Rajimu means the one who was cursed, the one who received the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the la'nat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the one. In Arabic, Al-Rajimu. Okay? Now, again, when we recite this, Ra will kill the sound of Lam. And you will pronounce ar instead of al-rajim, you pronounce ra 2 times. Okay? In Arabic, half of the Arabic letters are called huruf al-shamsi, other half are called huruf al-qamar. One group of half letters, whenever lam comes before them, they kill the sound of lam. And the other group keeps the sound. And names of the Quranic surahs are like that. For example, Al-Qamar. Al, and there is a qaf after that. Al-Qamar, Surah Al-Qamar. Al-Qamar, which means qaf is the letter which did nothing to the letter lam. Look another surah. Ash-Shams. This is actually Al-Shams. Sheen is the letter that killed the sound of lam. Okay? An-Nas. It is Al-Nas. Noon kill the sound of lam. So you pronounce an-nas, not al-nas. Okay? Al-falaq. Lam sound is coming out, so fa did not do any damage. So if you just ponder on the sound or the names of the surahs of the Quran, you will know which letter has killed the sound of lam, which has not killed. Ra is the letter that kills the sound of lam. So the pronunciation will be ar-rajimu. not al-rajimo, ar-rajimo. So the correct word in Arabic is ar-rajimu. Ar-rajimu means the special, the definite person who was cursed. And we know that title goes again to Iblis, Shaitan. Okay? So the word is actually ar-rajimu. This important thing is that you have this sound of wow at the last letter, mu. Ar-rajimu. Okay? Now there's another simple rule of Arabic, that when you have a noun in English and you want to have some sifat or characteristic of that noun. For example, if you say, the boy is beautiful. So what do? You take the word boy and you take the word beautiful and you put them together. What is the word beautiful? It's the adjective of the sifat, quality of the boy. The quality of the boy, or the pen is beautiful, for example, in its writing. Okay? So when I use the quality that goes to the actual name or noun, it's called sifat or adjective. Okay? In English, you can just combine any two words. In Arabic, there is a rule. Okay? So Shaitan is the name, and Ar-Rajimu is the sifat of that name, quality of that name. What is the quality of that name? Curse. Always it's this attribute or quality is going to be with that being. So, but there is a rule. If the rule is that if the name has al in it, the sifat will have al in it. So notice that it is al-shaytan. So this has to be al-rajim. Okay? Number one, if the last letter sound is a kasra, shaitani, this will be rajimi. Even though the original word is rajimu. The original word is, we just created the word, it is al-rajimu. Okay? But this word is coming in the sentence as a sifat, as a quality of the noun before. So it has to follow the same sound of it. That's the Arabic structure of the Arabic language. That when you mention a name and you mention the quality of that name, the quality has to go with the name. In terms of if the name is masculine, the quality has to be masculine. If the name is feminine, the quality is feminine. I'll just give an example. If you have this word, Hamidun. Hamidun is just a name of a person. Okay? Hamidun is the name of a person. Okay? If I want to say this person is making sajda, so making sajda is the quality of that person. Okay? So for that word, I will have to write Sajidun. The name will be Sajidun. You know that Hamid is a masculine name. Sajid is a masculine name. Now if I am talking about a girl, her name is Hamida. Girl's name is Hamida or Hamidatun. Hamida. So I cannot say Hamida Sajid. Sajidatun. The sifat has to be masculine also. In Arabic, if the name is masculine, then its quality has to be masculine. So if the name is Hamid, its quality will be Sajid. If the name is Hamida, its quality will be Sajida.
Can you repeat? You said if the name is masculine,
Then its attribute or quality will be masculine. If the name is feminine, its quality will be feminine quality. So we know that. We know the word name. Hamid is a name of a man, right? When you say Hamid is Sajid, Sajid is the one who is making sajda. When you talk about a girl whose name is Hamida, you don't say Hamida is Sajid. When you say Hamida is Sajida, she is making the sajda. Sajida is a feminine word. Okay? So in Arabic, the quality and the name go with the same flow, same
This
sound.
is Mawsuf and Sifa. That's what you start with. Mawsuf and Sifa.
Mawsuf and sifat. Yeah. Sifat is the adjective. Yeah. So that is the rule of the Arabic spoken language. So the reason I was emphasizing that originally the word is, this is the sifat of shaitan. Ar-rajimu. Remember, I always try to understand the word, complete word. Complete word is ar-rajimu. This waw is this sound is important. Ar-rajimu is the original word. But in the Quran, it is coming ar-rajimi. Why is it coming ar-rajimi in the Quran when the actual Arabic word is ar-rajimu? Because when you make a sentence,
Because whole picture brings the kasra.
no, because shaitani has a kasra, so and shaitani is a name, so its adjective has to follow the same pronunciation. So it has to be pronounced as ar-rajimi. Ar-rajimi is not the original word. Ar-rajimu is the original word. But it has to follow the name. The sifat has to follow the name. Just like if I say to you, Sajid or Hamid Sajid is Sajida. I'm speaking wrong. I have to say Hamid is Sajid. Because masculine. If I'm saying Hamidi, Sajidi, correct? Right? So there are 4 rules that have to be applied. So one of the rules is that originally the word was ar-rajimu, but because the name before was shaitani, if this min was not there,
There's no kasra.
if the min was not there, min is the one who did damage to the shaitani here. Originally word was shaitanu. First min did the damage. It says, I don't like this last letter sound on shaitanu. I'll take it to shaitani. Once it's done its part, now comes the next word. The next word says, I'm adjective. So I have to follow the noun. So originally I was a rajimu. I cannot remain a rajimu anymore. Because the word before me, the one who is the person who is my quality, he is being pronounced as shaitani. So better pronounce me a rajimi.
I have a question. In the Quran it says like, Huwallahu Ghafurur Rahim. So, Allahu is the name, then Ghafur and Rahim are the sifat.
Are the sifat.
So they has to match.
So,
But
yeah,
if
so
I
the
say-
word is Ghafurun and the word is Rahimun.
How about if I just change Minallahi, then what will happen to Ghafur and Rahim? How
Min-
that will be changed?
They will change also.
How?
If it is Ar-Rahimu, it will become Ar-Rahimi. Okay? If it is Al-Alimu, it will become Al-Alimi. Now we will come to those examples. There will be a lot of those examples. But these are the very fun, because we read the Quran. We learn how to read the Quran. But we don't know why. Because we don't know the original words. So we think these are the words. Those are not the words. In Arabic language, especially in the Quran, one word has the effect on the next word. Then that word has the effect on the next word. And they all keep changing the sound of each other. And why do they do? To make it easy on the tongue. Make it more rhythm, more beautification in the speech. Okay? So that's how. Now, if you want to continue reading, you will say, Minash Shaitanir Rajimi Bismillah. Okay? But if you want to lose your breath, you want to stop, it's okay to stop. Here. You don't need to stop, but you can stop. But then there are rules to stop. You cannot just randomly say anything. There are rules to stop. Okay? What are the rules to stop? If you want to stop at this point, your speech or your saying, then the rule is that first look at the last letter. What is the last letter? Mim. Then look what is the harakat on the last letter. It's going to be either fatah, dammar, kasra, or two fathahs, any of those letters. The rule is that do not pronounce the harakat of the last letter. do not pronounce me here. But just pronounce like there was a sukoon on that. Rajim, not rajimi, rajim. But one more thing you'll have to do. You will notice 99% when the ayat stops in the Quran, last word, in this case last word is rajimi. In this case, last word is rahimi. In this case, last word is Rabbil Alameen. If you look in the Quran, you will find, okay, but we'll come to that point later. So whenever, if notice that the letter before the last letter, what is that? Ya. In this case, what is the letter before the last letter? Ya again. In the Quran, you will find the last letter before the last letter is going to be either Ya or Alif or Waw. 99%. Just pay attention next time you open the Quran. You will see whenever the ayat stops, last word, last letter, the one before that is going to be Alif, Waw or Ya. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ya. Maliki Yawmiddin, Ya before noon. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een, Ya before noon. This is what we do. Two rules. When you want to stop, do not pronounce the harkat on the last letter. So don't say Raji, Ji, Mi, don't say Rahimi, but you say Rajim and Rahim. Second rule. The letter before that, if there is a Ya, elongate this letter. So instead of pronouncing Rajim, you will pronounce Rajim. Okay? Next time, listen what the reciter is. Or go home and open, some MP4 file, MP3 file of any reciter, and listen what he is saying. He will be pronouncing Raji. He's going to elongate this Ya.
Two to count.
No, 6 times. He's going to. If you are continuing, then you pronounce 2 times only. But when he stops, then he's going to pronounce it. Listen yourself. You go home, open any surah, reciter, and qari, and try to listen. Okay.
Before you go, I wanted to ask you something. You said in 90% of the time in the Quran, when ayah stops, the last letter, a word before the last letter, it has to be either alif, waw, or ya.
Yeah.
Now I understand ya and waw, but how is the alif comes there? I never. And can you give me an example?
I'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the reason I said 3, there will be some, because those are the 3 which are called huruf and mad. Those are the only we are allowed to stretch on them. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ.
B-I-E.
No, تُكَذِّبَانِ. Ban. Alif is
Okay.
there.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Almost alif pe hai.
Yeah, everyone is stopping last noon, before that is alif.
Rahman, Allama Quran.
Yeah, so inshallah we'll stop here because there's another class.